movie nerds, and welcome to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we're going to do a little split episode. I wanted to talk about two television shows who have somewhat similar themes and coincidentally similar names. So let's just jump into it. The first television show that I wanted to talk about is a new one called Shining Vale. It stars Courtney Cox, Mira Sorvino, and Greg Kinnear. I don't have much to say about this one, I'll be honest. It's supposed to be a sort of horror comedy. The whole premise is that Courtney Cox and Greg Kinnear are married to one another. Courtney Cox has had an affair with the hottest plumber that has ever been a plumber in the existence of mankind. She has an affair. They sell all of their stuff and move into this house in the middle of nowhere that's been empty for 2 years. And it turns out that it's haunted by this 50s housewife played by Mira Sorvino. I really like Mira Sorvino. I think she's a very good actress, and I love Greg Kinnear. I think he is also. I don't think this show lends anything to them in terms of like being able to actually use their talent in any kind of way. I don't find the show particularly funny, and I don't find it really that much horror either. So I'm not exactly sure as a horror comedy if it works. I found it very boring. It's very slow. I didn't finish the whole thing. I think I made it up to episode 6 or 7, almost to the end because I think there are only 8 episodes, and then I couldn't watch it anymore. It's just not I don't know. It's not particularly that interesting. It sort of reminded me of someone that just went and watched The Lost City with Sandra Bullock, but wanted to make it more horror instead of adventure and didn't have the writers or, the cast to actually pull off making it really great. So I don't know. It's got really great reviews on Google right now. People seem to love it. It was not my cup of tea. So so that's what I think of Shining Vale. Let's move on to the second television show that I wanted to talk about, and that one is called Shining Girls. And this one I enjoyed. I really loved it. It stars Elizabeth Moss, Jamie Bell, Madeline Brewer. There are a lot of really good characters in this one. I will have to admit that Shining Girls was one of those television shows that I was halfway through and felt kind of similar about Shining Girls as I did about Shining Vale. I didn't understand what was going on. I was confused. It was a bit of a slow burn. I couldn't really make heads or tails of what was happening. And I was like, this is just dumb. Like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And for some reason, I just kept watching it. And the twist to the show was so unique that I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, it sort of put all of the pieces into place when it actually explained what was going on. And I was like, oh, now I understand why the beginning of it is so confusing. So the story for Shining Girls is Elizabeth Moss, and she works at a newspaper. I can't remember exactly how long prior to like when you first meet her, this little circumstance happened, but I want to say it's like 10 years. It's a good long distance, but she was attacked by someone that tried to kill her, and so she has these scars. This one is more really just like thriller. It's not going to be a comedy like the other one, but she has these scars on her stomach, and the person that attacked her had left an item like inside her stomach after he attacked her. And so something happens. There is a murder, and since she's working at the newspaper, she's kind of one of the first to see the circumstances, like some of the details, and she recognizes them. She doesn't understand how, because it's been quite, a long distance between when she was attacked and when this woman was attacked, but she's like, no, they're similar. It has to be the same person. And so she teams up with a journalist at the newspaper to kind of give him her details and her side of the story to try and catch this killer. And the twist in it is so unique. It's like a time travel-y twist. It is the most unique thing ever. I would highly recommend watching Shining Girls. It is not so much a slow burn, but just the very beginning of it is a little bit confusing because you don't have all of the pieces. You don't have all of the knowledge of what's actually going on and how some of these things are happening. There are some moments with Elizabeth Moss where something will happen and it doesn't explain it. You do get it explained like later on in the show, but it doesn't explain it in the beginning. And so she'll like suddenly have a different haircut, or suddenly she's working in a different section of the newspaper, or, you know, suddenly her apartment is somewhere else and you don't understand really quite what's going on. It does like clear everything up, and it's really such a unique twist that I haven't seen before in a television show or even in a movie, I don't think. But it was so well done. And I love Elizabeth Moss. You know, obviously she's in Handmaid's Tale and she does a great job there as well. But all of the characters in this are just so great. Jamie Bell's character, man, A+. Like, he does so well as his character. Like, I thoroughly disliked him. So he did an amazing job. At his character. So would highly recommend Shining Girls, would pass on Shining Vale if it was me. Let me know if you've watched either of these. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.